The sachets on my husband's person are precisely the ones I gave to my lover. Gazing at these sachets, I fell deep in thought. Where exactly did things go wrong? As the wife of a minister of state, I held my husband in the highest regard. After all, it was only because Liu Tinji held that position that I could be his wife. I understood perfectly well the principle that when the lips are gone, the teeth feel the cold. Therefore, I did my utmost to fulfill the duties expected of a proper minister's wife. Liu Tinji was particular about his food, so I had the matron personally prepare his meals, ensuring a balanced mix of meats and vegetables, all fresh, fragrant, and delicious. Liu Tinji is particular about his attire, so I have the matron personally sew his undergarments, ensuring they fit snugly and comfortably. Whenever Liu Tinji returned home late after drinking, no matter how late it was, the nanny would rise to personally prepare him a sobering broth. Had the nanny not refused, I might even have asked her to bear Liu Tinji a child, ensuring his lineage continued and his family's name endured. Of course, through her diligent care for Liu Tinji, the nanny has now earned enough to purchase a 2-courtyard house in the capital. She's currently working hard on renovating it. Both the nanny and I cherish this life. Each morning, we wake filled with hope for a better future. But Liu Tinji harbors other desires. The matron told me she encountered Liu Tinji while checking the renovation progress at the courtyard. I smiled at her in surprise. An affair, I see. Who knew the matron had a taste for such things? But the matron looked flustered, as if she touched something unclean. Miss, what on earth are you thinking? I immediately composed myself, adopting the dignified demeanor of a proper mistress of the house. I blew gently on my tea leaves and asked her calmly, then what was the master doing there? The matron glanced around furtively, satisfied no one was watching, and whispered to me, the master slipped into the courtyard next door. We both crouched on the wall, peering into the simple, single courtyard house beside ours. Sure enough, Liu Tinji tiptoed in, taking light steps. He scanned the area front, back, left, and right before knocking on the courtyard door with a sly, furtive motion. 3 knocks in front, 2 in back, perfectly rhythmic. A woman dashed out from the courtyard. Hearing the door knock, she flung herself toward it like a swallow returning to its nest, opening it for Liu Tinji. Liu Tinji slipped through the doorway, and the door closed silently behind him. The two embraced passionately, their bodies burning like dry kindling as they entered the house. I silently climbed down the ladder. The old nurse also silently climbed down the ladder. The old nurse looked at the half-renovated courtyard and hesitantly advised me, "Madam, look at this. This life could still be muddled through." I remained silent. Truthfully, I felt quite sorry for my husband. A dignified minister of state, now tiptoeing about, burdened by such guilt, what could be the cause? It was because of me. Had he not already had a wife at home, why would he go to such lengths to find another woman? I understood. I understood everything. The more I understood, the more my heart ached for him. I looked at the matron with complex emotions. When I sought out my lover, were my movements this vulgar? The matron read the meaning in my eyes and tried to comfort me. "Madam, you are different from the master. Madam. Madam. Madam, when you look around, your movements should be just a little more subtle." "Never mind, don't say any more." I pictured Liu Tinji's earlier actions as my own and flushed with embarrassment. So vulgar, utterly vulgar. The thought that I, the epitome of a capital city lady, might behave so crudely filled me with regret. After much pondering, I finally boiled over with anger. It's all my lover's fault. It's all his fault. I pounded my lover's chest in fury. The more I pounded, the angrier I grew. That chest was far too hard. While it felt exquisite to the touch, pounding it was another matter entirely. He patiently held me close, rubbing my hand. There. You'll hurt your hand." Leaning against his chest, I wept with grievance. He soothed me, "Let's divorce. We won't live with him anymore. You can come live at my estate openly." My head cleared instantly. He continued coaxing me, "Jing Shu, I promised, once you divorce him, I'll marry you with a grand 8-person palanquin." I remained silent. As if I'd never ridden in a palanquin before, like I'd care. When Lu Tinji married me, he followed the 3 letters and 6 rites, arrived in a palanquin, and brought a mile-long procession of red wedding decorations. He made countless noble ladies in the capital green with envy. Once you've experienced it, it's just that. He kissed my temple gently. Think about it. Lu Tinji cheated right under your nose. He's a tainted man. Let's just cut him loose. It's no loss. I watched his eager to be on top expression and sighed deeply. Forget it. This matter is too complicated. Let's put it aside for now. I kissed him back. Sparks flew. Just as I was breathless and unable to stop, he firmly pushed me away. No. This is something I can only do with my wife. I pinched his chest in frustration. Where had this virtuous facade been before? Yet he looked at me with hurt eyes. Thick lashes cast shadows, accentuating his high nose bridge and rosy lips. He was as bewitching as a demon. He placed my hand over his heart and muttered, Lu Tinji is keeping a mistress. Why haven't you divorced him yet? I sighed. It seemed nothing would happen tonight. Fine. I pinched his chest. Calm down. We'll talk about this later. Deep into the night, Lu Tinji returned, sneaking in like a ghost. He spent ages washing in the bathroom, peeking around the corners. I closed my eyes. My mind churned. I etched his sleazy behavior into my memory. Next time I return, I must avoid these actions. Remember. Lu Tinji crept to the bedside, sat down softly, and slowly lay down. I kept my eyes shut, pretending not to notice. Sleep. Tomorrow morning will bring another happy day. But Lu Tinji insisted on stirring up trouble. Slowly turning over, he actually grabbed my hand. Disgusted, I couldn't help but shake him off. Lu Tinji was startled. My lady, what's wrong? This skill of turning the tables, I must remember it, must learn it. My mind turned, and I sighed slowly. My lord, something happened today that troubles me. Lu Tinji sighed in relief. Tell me, my lady. Perhaps I can ease your worries and lift your spirits. I looked at him earnestly. Husband, it's been 2 years since that incident with your cousin. How have I treated you these past 2 years? Lu Tinji's voice trembled with guilt. My lady has treated me exceedingly well. I nodded. Don't you find our life together rather monotonous and dull? Lu Tinji's voice began to shake. No, my lady, hear me out. I cut him off. How about taking a concubine into the household? Bring that woman into the manor so he won't have to endure such humiliation. Before I could finish, Lu Tinji suddenly exploded. Madam, I swore to you long ago, in this life and the next, you alone dwell in my heart, Lu Tinji. Heaven and earth bear witness. With that, he stormed out of bed, striding in 3 quick steps toward the study. I was left gaping in the darkness. Why was Lu Tinji so furious? Was this clandestine thrill so irresistible to him? I hadn't even done anything yet, but Lu Tinji had already started throwing inexplicable tantrums. He complained the rice was too salty, the dishes too bland, and his undergarments lacked embroidery. The matron's face darkened as she gripped the rice ladle tightly, veins bulging in her knuckles. I sent her a reassuring glance, reminding her half the renovation remained. She clenched her jaw. Who knew what Lu Tinji truly wanted? 2 years ago, when I discovered his tangled relationship with his cousin Lu Wanning, he was far more composed than he is now. Back then, he simply insisted, Wanning and I are completely innocent. If I wanted anything with her, I would have married her long ago. What business is it of yours? But now, he's jumping around like a mad monkey, a sight far worse than anything before. Why on earth did the government establish these official days off? Couldn't they just require officials to live in the courthouse and handle duties day in and day out? I patiently reasoned with Lu Tinji, if you have a lady you truly care for, just bring her in properly. He threw a fit, saying I didn't care about him. I massaged my temples and proposed a grand solution. Then I'll arrange for you to take several concubines. They can bear children to carry on the family line. I refuse to believe that woman outside truly wants to live in that small courtyard forever without any status. Nor do I want her living outside. Food, clothing, housing, and transportation all cost money. Keeping her in the household not only saves expenses but also means she can help with chores. Lu Tinji howled and continued his tantrum, insisting he'd made it clear last night, I was the only one in his heart. Not only that, but I had to bear him a legitimate firstborn son. Now, not only was I refusing to share his bed or bear his children, I was forcing him to take concubines, proof I didn't care for him, proof I'd changed my heart. Hearing this, I felt a twinge of guilt. But when reason fails, one must rely on sheer bravado. I slammed the table, ready to unleash my fury upon him. Just then, the steward rushed in, reporting that a group of noble guests had unexpectedly arrived. The dignitaries, returning weary from a hunting excursion, happened to pass by the minister's residence and wished to rest temporarily. The sudden influx of so many distinguished guests finally made Lu Tinji cease his childish tantrums. He put on a proper demeanor and began receiving the visitors with due decorum. The guests filed in one after another, and my beloved was among them. I watched him. His thin lips curved slightly, his phoenix-like eyes slanted upward, and he gave me a glance that was almost a smile. My heart skipped a beat, and a splitting headache surged through me. That rascal, he deliberately came looking for me. The banquet was set in the water pavilion orchid terrace. The dignitaries took their seats. I watched the crowd from afar. I instructed the maids and servants to stay alert and serve them well. After all, these noble guests were famously picky in the capital. A young maid ran off quickly and returned to secretly tell me the situation at the banquet. The commander of the Imperial Guard praised the elegance and uniqueness of the minister's water pavilion. Prince Su lavished praise on the fragrant and mellow tea and pastries. The commander of the Golden Guard patted Lu Tinji on the shoulder. Though he spoke little, his admiration was plain to see. Lu Tinji was visibly thrilled, yet he struggled to maintain his composure, hiding his inner triumph. With that, I felt reassured and prepared to retire to my chambers. Then, along the path leading to the pavilion, came a clear, crisp call of cousin. My eyebrows shot up. I turned to look toward the pavilion. A young lady dressed in a pale yellow, sheer gown was walking in, looking quite lovely. It was her. It was actually her. Lu Wanning, the cousin who had entangled herself with Lu Tinji 2 years prior. Why was she here? After her failed advances toward Lu Tinji 2 years ago, she'd been sent far away to Yunzhou. How had she suddenly appeared here? As I neared the pavilion, the expressions beneath the lantern light varied wildly. Lu Tinji's face turned ashen. He glanced at Lu Wanning, then at me. The guests rose and raised their hands in greeting. Lu Wanning seemed only now to notice me. Covering her mouth with a light laugh, she called out leisurely, "Cousin-in-law." Very well indeed. I smiled and curtsied, greeting those present. This is a humble gathering, hardly worthy of your esteemed company. Should anything be lacking, I beg your kind indulgence. Commander Du Xinxing of the Imperial Guard was the first to laugh. Madam, you're too kind. It was we who were presumptuous to intrude upon you today. General Wei Shouting of the Imperial Guard cast a teasing glance at Lu Tinji. No wonder Lord Lu cherishes his wife so dearly. Seeing her today, I understand why, utterly understandable. Prince Su, Shenhuajin, a man of stern dignity, frowned at Wei Shouting's tone. Brother Shouting, your words are flippant and presumptuous. Apologize to the lady at once. Wei Shouting froze, scratching the back of his head. Huh? Shenhuajin shot him a glare, and Wei Shouting hastily raised his cup. My fault. Please forgive me, Lady Lu. With that, he tilted his head back and down the wine. Lu Wanning, who'd been unable to interject, finally found her chance to speak. After 2 years apart, my cousin-in-law still can't take a joke. You're showing off, aren't you? I nodded slightly. Wanning, you've traveled far and wide. The moment you entered, you headed straight for your cousin. Your spirit remains undimmed. Lu Tinji finally couldn't hold back. His face darkened. We have honored guests here. Nanny, take Miss Lu away at once. Lu Wanning stared at Lu Tinji, her lips pressed tightly together, her face pale. Just as she was about to speak, the nanny stepped forward, grabbed Lu Wanning, and turned to leave. My lover raised an eyebrow at me. I shot him a glare. This day was a complete mess, turning into utter chaos. Truth be told, I once considered divorcing Lu Tinji. But learning of the countless hassles involved gradually sapped my resolve. Then, after the scandal of his ambiguous relationship with his cousin broke, the ladies of the capital actually grew twice as friendly toward me. At tea gatherings and banquets, they'd pour out their hearts to me about their own husbands and children's troubles. Only then did I realize that men are all much the same, each with their own flaws. Once I grasped this truth, looking back, my current life seemed quite comfortable. I flourished as the minister's wife. The ministry's finances were entirely under my control. Of course, Lu Tinji must have hidden some personal funds, otherwise, he couldn't afford to keep a mistress. But it couldn't be much, or that courtyard wouldn't be so shabby. When Lu Tinji stayed away and kept quiet, I actually lived quite well. The matron renovates her little courtyard, I attend my banquets. Everyone lives freely and at ease. Not to mention, after becoming intimate with my lover, I came to deeply understand Lu Tinji. Hating Lu Tinji, understanding Lu Tinji, becoming Lu Tinji. Over these 2 years, my days have slowly settled into this comfortable rhythm. I didn't want to shatter this tranquil existence. But my reluctance to break it didn't mean others wouldn't. The matron asked Lu Wanning, "Cousin, you've already married into Yunzhou. Why are you still dressed as an unmarried maiden?" Lu Wanning replied with a calm, detached air, "After I married him, that short-lived fellow died." "So what? Does his death mean I can't remain unmarried?" The matron stammered, but... The matron hesitated, so I spoke up, "He died, so you are a widow. You should dress as one. Regardless of when your husband passed, it hasn't been 3 years yet." Lu Wanning shot me a cold, mocking look, "You just can't stand to see me doing well." I sighed, "So it seems you didn't come to tear our family apart, but to join us?" Lu Wanning's eyes darted about. She bit her lips softly, her voice sweet and seductive, brimming with feigned sorrow. "Cousin-in-law, I truly have nowhere else to go. Here she comes. Here she comes again, bringing her acting skills with her." Without turning around, I knew the audience had arrived. Lu Tinji's voice sounded flustered, "Jing Shu, Wanning." I cut him off. 2 years have passed. She hasn't grown an inch. Have you grown an inch? Lu Tinji stood frozen, his mouth agape. I lashed out at his very soul. 2 years. Has your position risen? How much has your salary increased? Have you earned a chance to shine before His Majesty? Lu Tinji's eyes widened, his face flushing crimson. I let out a cold laugh and swept my sleeve away. Behind me, Lu Tinji stomped his feet while Lu Wanning sobbed softly. Exhausted. Body exhausted, heart exhausted. Exhausted inside and out. The matron supported me as I slowly walked along the long corridor. If I'm this exhausted, perhaps divorce isn't such a bad option after all. The process would be troublesome, but upon reflection, it was still feasible. Tomorrow, I must first take inventory of my dowry. Then purchase a courtyard. Lost in thought, the matron suddenly released me and silently stepped aside. My beloved sat alone in the night-shrouded corridor. Seeing me approach, he rose to his feet. Tall and graceful, even in the darkness, he radiated effortless elegance. I whispered to him, "Why haven't you left yet?" He drew me tightly into his embrace, his eyes filled with concern. "I left, but seeing you so unhappy, I couldn't bear to leave you alone. I came back to check on you. My beloved was always so considerate." I touched his chest. "All men change their hearts. You will too." He gently stroked my hair. "Not all men are Lu Tinji." I didn't believe him. Even if he wasn't Lu Tinji, after hearing so much gossip about the mistresses, I no longer trusted men's fidelity. He sighed softly. "Life isn't the same with everyone. You have to trust me." I didn't trust him. I kissed him. I only trust what's before my eyes. I only care about what's before my eyes. He seemed to wince in pain. Then he kissed me back. Forcefully, painfully, passionately, as if there were no tomorrow. As if he were tearing out his heart to prove something. My heart finally began to soften, bit by bit. But what about his heart? Such a proud man, willing to be my secret lover. He suffered my pain. In the night, he wept bitterly for me. Those tears softened me bit by bit. I fumbled, cupping his face, "Stop crying." His tears flowed more freely. So I soothed him, "In a couple days, I'll give you a gift." He looked at me, his eyes sparkling, holding a thread of hope. My heart suddenly softened beyond measure. I sprang into action. While dispatching men to investigate Lu Wanning and Yunzhou, I made my way to the small courtyard where Lu Tinji hid his mistress. 3 knocks before, 2 after, the matron's knocking carried a distinct rhythm. Sure enough, shortly after, the courtyard gate swung open. A woman dashed out, flinging herself into the matron's arms like a swallow returning to its nest. While hugging her, she cooed, "Why did you take so long?" The matron gave a sharp eek and shoved her away. The woman gasped in shock, turning to bolt back inside. The matron grabbed her by the arm. The maidservants nearby were quick to react, snatching the woman from the old nurse's grasp. 2 of them pounced, pinning her down firmly. The young servants rushed into the courtyard, subduing a young maidservant who tried to flee. I stepped into the courtyard. The young servants brought me a chair, rinsed it clean with well water, dried it, and placed it under a tree for me to sit. The woman wept in a delicate, fragile manner, as if a breeze might break her. "Wah wah wah, who are you?" "I must find my husband." I couldn't be bothered to look at her. Lu Tinji certainly had consistent taste, he favored this type. Lu Wanning and this woman were cut from the same cloth. I wondered who would come out on top if they ever crossed swords. The servant hauled out every valuable item from the house. All they had were 2 chests of personal belongings. Lu Tinji truly had no money. Watching the goods being carried away, I motioned for the woman to approach. Upon closer inspection, she was merely delicate and pretty. The woman likely guessed my identity. She stopped crying now, glaring at me with stubborn defiance. I gave her a half-smile. "My dear sister, living alone here isn't safe, you know." The woman froze. I asked her, "What's your surname?" She replied, "Young." Young Lu Qingqing, Willow's Green, Rose of Shade. She started to add, "My childhood name is." I raised my hand to cut her off. "Come with me to the mansion. I'll elevate you to concubine status. It's far better than staying in this small courtyard." Madame Yang's face lit up with joy, yet she remained hesitant and uncertain. I stood up and asked her, "Are you coming? If not, you can stay here." Madame Yang gritted her teeth, bowed deeply to me, and said, "Thank you, madam." When Lu Wanning saw Yangshi, she was utterly shocked. I took Yangshi's hand and introduced her warmly. "Cousin, this is your younger cousin-in-law. She's the apple of your cousin's eye these days. Even I give her 3 points of deference. You mustn't act out in front of your younger cousin-in-law." Then to Yangshi, "Sister, this is our cousin, staying with us for now. Your cousin dotes on her terribly, shielding her from every hardship. You must cherish her too." Watching Yangshi and Lu Wanning's faces shift from crimson to pale, from pale to ashen, and finally to a sickly green, I felt quite pleased. The 2 women sized each other up. It was confirmed they were evenly matched, neither one giving an inch. Excellent! I assigned their quarters to the east and west sides of Lu Tinji's study, far removed from my courtyard. Finally, I breathed a sigh of relief. The matron also exhaled, tossing Lu Tinji's embroidered undergarments aside before washing her hands. Staring at the undergarment, I pondered the gift I'd promised my lover that night, and suddenly an idea struck me. When Lu Tinji stormed into my room, I was embroidering a sachet. Lu Tinji began leaping about in a rage once more. My temples throbbed painfully. He gritted his teeth. "Xia Jingzhu, what do you think you're doing?" I sighed. "Lu Tinji, what exactly are you upset about?" Lu Tinji looked at me, his eyes filled with hurt. "Yes, I slept with Ayan, but I have no feelings for her." "I love you. What do you think you're doing bringing her into our home?" I urged him to calm down. "Lu Tinji, what's gotten into you? Why are you so quick to anger now?" Lu Tinji clutched his head, murmuring, "Jingshu, this family is what matters most to me. Believe me. Send her away." "I'm sorry. I promise I won't see her again." I urged him to be reasonable. Lu Tinji, why be so cruel? Can't you show some compassion? She's just a vulnerable woman, how will she survive without you? Lu Tinji was speechless. I picked up the sachets and delivered my final plea, leave. You've disappointed me beyond measure. I hadn't done needlework in ages, and this pouch took me quite a while. Lu Tinji has been quiet lately, no longer seeking me out. Yang and Lu each used their own methods to keep him firmly tied down. With so much energy drained by the affairs in the back courtyard, his official duties inevitably suffered. My beloved told me Lu Tinji had misspoken before His Majesty, who was displeased. The Emperor's gaze toward Lu Tinji had grown critical. Lu Tinji knew this, of course, and began treading carefully. But the more cautious he became, the more it seemed he had something to hide, and the more dissatisfied the Emperor grew. Lu Tinji grew increasingly troubled. Yang and Lu, in turn, intensified their schemes to win Lu Tinji's favor. Thus, Lu Tinji's energy grew ever more depleted, leading him to speak out of turn once more. My lover held my hand, his gaze deep and tender, his thoughts wholly focused on me. Lu Tinji's ship will capsize sooner or later. You'd be better off marrying me now. Once he falls from grace, we can divorce, avoiding the stain of being called heartless. I pondered the intelligence brought by my envoy to Yunzhou. Finally, I resolved. Once the decision was made, many things began to unfold methodically. My gaze toward Lu Tinji, once filled with impatience, began to shift subtly. Lu Tinji seemed to sense this change in my attitude. Each day after court, he would carefully come to accompany me for breakfast. After breakfast, I would urge him to leave, and only then would he reluctantly make his way to his study. He never shared a single worry from the court with me. Yang Shi and Lu Wanning tried to join us for breakfast a few times, but Lu Tinji gave them such a fierce scolding that they never set foot in my courtyard again. Stealing moments from my busy schedule, I finally finished my scented pouch. I gazed at the pouch I had made with my own hands, deeply satisfied. When I, Miss Xia, create something, it's nothing short of a rare treasure. I handed the pouch personally to my beloved. His eyes reddened with emotion. Clutching the pouch tightly, he pulled me into his embrace. Ah, Shu, I give you my heart and my life. I placed my hand over his chest. His heart pounded beneath my palm. It revived my own heartbeat. I couldn't help whispering to him, I've already begun preparing for our divorce. Overwhelmed with joy, he gazed at me, his throat tightening until he was momentarily speechless. After a long pause, he clasped my hand, trust me. I traced the calluses on his hand and murmured a quiet yes. Overjoyed, he swept me up in his arms. The world spun, my heartbeat merging with his until they became one. Spring's tender warblers sang sweetly, their songs opening the peach blossoms on the branches with spring rain. I summoned Lu Wanning. These past days, Lu Wanning had indeed changed somewhat. Her close encounters with the Yang family had left her face bearing traces of harshness and weariness, making her attempts at coy charm seem somewhat strained. I sighed. Lu Wanning stood tall and proud, like a winter plum blossom. What brings my cousin-in-law to summon me? I was the harsh wind and snow that crushed the blossoms. After all this time, you still haven't succeeded in joining this family. What's the matter? Has your skill regressed instead of advancing? Lu Wanning gritted her teeth, her face contorting into a grimace. I smiled faintly, Wanning, I had such high hopes for you. I wanted to see you tear this family apart with my own eyes. Who would have thought? Not only have you failed to destroy it, you haven't even managed to join it. Why is that? I savored the look of fury on her face. Your attitude seems fine. So it must be a matter of ability? Lu Wanning ground out the words through clenched teeth. You called me here just to mock me? To ridicule me? I motioned for the matron to bring over a piece of paper. No. I saw how hard you've been working and just wanted to lend a hand. Lu Wanning took the paper and stared at it, her expression shifting like storm clouds. I said calmly, this opportunity, I'm giving it to you. If you can pull it off, the position of Mrs. Lu is yours. Lu Wanning stared at me, doubt and alarm mingling in her eyes. Divorce papers? What exactly are you up to? Are you trying to harm me again? I shook my head earnestly. Why would I harm you? If you can find a way to get Lu Tinji to sign and seal these papers, they'll be valid. Lu Wanning's hands trembled slightly. I reminded her, no matter what, Yangshi is still just a concubine who hasn't been formally recognized. You are the cousin niece, of higher status than her, and you and your cousin have a long-standing affection. Once I divorce her, you need only make a little effort, and the position of Mrs. Lu will naturally be yours. Lu Wanning looked at me. My fingers tapped lightly, almost absent-mindedly, on the housekeeper's token on the table. After a long pause, Lu Wanning finally gritted her teeth. Fine, I'll grant you your wish. But if you ever try to harm me, I'll bite a chunk out of you even in death. I smiled, picked up my teacup, and saw her out. The princess's flower viewing banquet was approaching. This banquet was originally intended as a matchmaking event for eligible young men and women in the capital. Those of us without marriageable youth in our households really had no need to attend. Yet Lu Wanning begged Lu Tinji earnestly to let her go. Lu Tinji came to plead with me, asking me to take her along. Seeing him so blinded by desire, I felt a headache coming on. What business does a woman who hasn't even completed her 3-year mourning period have at such an occasion? Do you want the Lu family to be laughed at? Lu Tinji looked somewhat sheepish but bravely persisted. She's just bored stiff at home. Yesterday, Ian even pushed her into the pond. You should take her out to cheer her up. You know, she's still a young girl. I cut him off. She's a widow now, not a young girl. I can't afford to lose face over this. Don't be shy, just take her yourself. Lu Tinji fumed. What's wrong with me taking her? You're her sister-in-law, it's your duty. I spread my hands helplessly. I didn't push her in. I don't care about her. If she wants to stew in her own juices, let her stew. Whoever cares for her should take responsibility, that's only fair. Lu Tinji stomped his foot in fury. You don't act like a proper sister-in-law at all. I sneered coldly. So what if you take her to the flower banquet as her elder brother? You haven't done anything wrong, what's there to be embarrassed about? Lu Tinji seemed to finally snap out of it, his face flushing crimson as he stomped off. I couldn't help but wonder why Lu Wanning was so indecisive. She spent her days bickering with concubine Young, neglecting every important task. Where was my divorce petition? After pondering, I warned her, if you can't handle the divorce petition, I'll seek help from Lady Young. She's the legitimate concubine after all, her capability and attitude are surely superior to yours. Lu Wanning gritted her teeth. Rest assured, within 3 days, I will give you an answer. What arrived before the divorce papers was Lu Tinji's flushed face. Clutching something in his hand, Lu Tinji charged toward me, his rage boiling over. I hurriedly grabbed the matron. The matron quickly stepped in front of me. Lu Tinji hurled whatever he held at me with all his might. The matron, quick as lightning, caught it and handed it to me. It was clearly the sachets I had given to my lover. Lu Tinji's entire body trembled, his voice shaking. This is the sachets you made for me. How did it end up on someone else? Explain yourself. This statement was highly questionable. First, this wasn't the sachets I made for him. Second, my lover wasn't an outsider either. Of course, I was also puzzled. How did the sachets I gave to my lover end up in Lu Tinji's hands? Where exactly did things go wrong? Lu Tinji's voice choked with sobs. That day, watching you make the pouch, I thought you were making it for me. I was so happy, waiting every day for you to give it to me. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? I sighed. I didn't tell you because I was afraid you'd be angry. Lu Tinji roared. Is this something to be angry about? What exactly is your relationship with him? Why did you give him a pouch? I tried to calm him down. All right, all right. It's all my fault, okay? Stop this. But Lu Tinji only grew more frenzied. He violently snatched the sachets from my hands again, waving them as he demanded, when did this happen? Exactly when? How far have you gone with him? The matron silently handed me a handkerchief. I wiped the spittle from my face. I sighed, looking at him with disappointment. Stop this. You weren't always like this. Besides, I've already apologized. What more do you want? Look at yourself now. completely out of control. What will our colleagues and His Majesty think? Anyway, you need to calm down first. Once you've settled, we can talk properly. After saying this, I took the old nurse's hand and turned to leave the room. The matron informed me that all my dowry had been moved out, and my personal attendants were ready to depart at any moment. I asked her, "Is your courtyard finished?" The matron nodded cheerfully. "Long finished." When I saw Miss Biao arrive, I knew we had to hurry. We must earn the renovation costs from the young master before leaving. That's our matron for you, always thorough. Everything was ready except the divorce papers. Just as I was about to order the withholding of Lu Wanning's monthly allowance, she came knocking, holding the divorce papers in her hand. I looked at her approvingly. "I told you so. With Wanning taking the lead, nothing is impossible." Lu Wanning glared at me with hatred. "Cut the nonsense. Hand over the steward's token." I had the matron examine the divorce papers first. After verifying the handwriting, fingerprints, and seal, she nodded to me. Once I secured the papers, a heavy weight lifted from my chest. Lu Wanning picked up the steward's token, a faint smile touching her lips. But then, Lu Tingji's voice echoed menacingly from the doorway. "What are you two doing?" I stared in shock at Lu Tingji, his face bruised and swollen, limping as he stood. Lu Wanning gasped, "Cousin, what happened to you? Who hurt you?" Lu Tingji pushed Lu Wanning aside, his gaze fixed on me, pain etched in his eyes. "He told me himself. You too. You too." Before he could finish, a mouthful of blood spurted out, and Lu Tingji collapsed limply. Lu Wanning screamed, "Quick, someone! Find a doctor! Hurry, find a doctor!" The matron rushed to check on Lu Tingji first, then shook her head at me. "Nothing serious, just superficial injuries." But the blood? Probably anger and shock overwhelmed him. "He'll be fine once he recovers." I patted Lu Wanning gently. "Madam Lu, you go ahead. I won't disturb you." Lu Wanning stared at me wide-eyed, yet a slow smile began to spread across her lips. I confronted him sternly. "What happened to the sachet I gave you? How did it end up in Lu Tingji's hands?" My lover stood obediently, head bowed, his hand clutching the sachet at his waist. "I've already snatched it back." I snorted coldly. "Don't dodge the real issue." My lover pouted. "He stole it." Who could have guessed he'd be so sleazy? Recalling the incident, my lover seethed with anger. "After you gave me that pouch, I was so overjoyed I couldn't sleep for days. Then suddenly, my elder sister threw a flower viewing banquet to arrange a match for me. When I heard the news, I rushed over with the pouch, hoping to convince her to stop meddling in my marriage plans. Little did I know Lu Tingji would spot it. My lover slammed his fist on the table in fury. Fine, he saw it. But who could have guessed he'd start sneaking around, tailing me like a shadow? Later, when I met Du Xinxing and Wei Xiaoting, they dragged me out for drinks. That Lu Tingji insisted on tagging along too. I truly didn't bring him. He snuck along behind us. Then the guys got drunk, and somehow Lu Tingji stole the sachets. My lover nuzzled my cheek, coaxing me. "Aju, my dear Aju, I was wrong." The moment I realized the pouch was gone, I sobered up instantly. The servant told me Lu Tingji stormed off in a rage. "I was terrified he'd go back and hurt you." You have no idea. You have no idea how terrified I was. If my eldest sister hadn't stopped me, I would have barged right into the mansion. He held me close, still visibly shaken. "Thank goodness you're safe." I pinched him playfully. "So you beat him up?" He buried his face in my neck, nuzzling against me. I had to get the sachet back. I held him still. "It's been touched by him. It's unclean now." "Sweetheart, we don't need it. I'll make you a new one." He hesitated, clutching the sachet without replying. After a moment, I retrieved the divorce papers and handed them to him. "Help me file these, and I'll make you a new pouch." His eyes lit up instantly, grinning like a fox that had stolen a chicken. Lu Tingji found me. His bloodshot eyes fixed on me. "Jing Shu, what's this about divorce? I never agreed to it. I refuse to accept it." I curtsied with dignity. "Lord Lu, please be mindful of your words. The divorce papers have been officially filed with the authorities. The process is complete, the paperwork is in order. I implore you to respect the laws of our dynasty. Lu Tinji lunged to grab me, but was held back by the matron. My lord, exercise restraint. Lu Tinji's eyes churned with emotion. Gritting his teeth, he spat out each word. Jing Shu, I told you, in this life and this world, you are the only one in my heart. You alone can be my wife. Why must you divorce me? I watched him quietly. After a long moment, I finally spoke slowly. Yes, I believe you hold me in your heart. I also believe you never considered abandoning your wife for another. Lu Tinji erupted. Then why must you leave me? I sighed. But you still desire other women, my cousin's rivalry, Lady Yang's dependence. You want too much. All I want is a man who can focus, a life that requires less effort. Lu Tinji rubbed his face. Jing Shu, if this is why, I can sever ties with them all. Back then. I shook my head to interrupt him. When you sent Lu Wanning away, our love had already run dry. The days that followed were merely a compromise. Lu Tinji closed his eyes in anguish. When he opened them again, venom was already forming on his tongue. What love running dry? What compromises? You just want to climb higher. I cut him off urgently. Lu Wanning is pregnant. Lu Tinji froze. After a long moment of stunned silence, he suddenly let out a cry and dashed out. The matron looked at me questioningly. Is she truly pregnant? I gave the matron a dignified smile. I have no idea. Lu Tinji did indeed marry Lu Wanning. The speed of it drew widespread gossip throughout the city. Compounded by Lu Wanning not having completed her 3-year widowhood, rumors ran wild. The most outrageous claim was that Lu Wanning had murdered her previous husband in Yunzhou and fled to seek refuge in Lu Tinji's household. The gossips brought by Commander Du's wife lit up with excitement. It's true, Jing Shu. That venomous woman murdering her own husband has been the talk of Yunzhou for ages. Only because it's so far away did the capital just hear about it now. The matron silently poured more tea for Mrs. Du. Clearing her throat, Lady Du gloated. Word is His Majesty has already dispatched secret investigators to Yunzhou. If the allegations prove true, Lu Tinji will be in serious trouble. Lady Wei, the commander's wife, inquired curiously, what kind of trouble? Lady Du shook her head. If he was unaware, it would reveal him as a lustful fool, utterly incompetent. If he knew, he'd face collective punishment. Madame Wei gasped, joint liability? Does that mean decapitation? Madame Du nodded emphatically, the best outcome would be exile 1,000 li away. Madame Wei shook her head repeatedly. Lu Tinji has truly lost his mind. Then, turning to me with a smile, she remarked, Jing Shu, when you divorced Lu Tinji, we all felt it was unfair. But now it seems. What a fortunate outcome. I smiled. Madame Du sighed. Even the princess herself says it was all Lu Tinji's blindness and foolishness. A woman as dignified and virtuous as our Jing Shu will surely find a worthy husband again. Madame Wei added with a sigh, ever since Jing Shu's divorce, every eligible bachelor in the capital has been stirring with interest. Just the other day, Lord Wang from the Ministry of Justice even asked me to inquire about you. I smiled demurely. The capital's foremost lady of virtue, my reputation is no empty title. The end.